Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Numan Muhammad Abdul, and I am here to present my poster presentation for my business consultancy report, which is evaluating feasibility of an airline which is entering Argentine market. To give some context, I would like to say Argentina has 45 million people, but the average person only flies once every 3 years. This is enormous untapped demand. The question is whether a new entrant can capture its profitability. My aim is to assess the commercial feasibility of a new LCC entering Argentina's domestic market, and I had got few objectives over here. uh, which is first one is to evaluate the post open skies regulatory landscape and analyze consumer demand and assess unit economics under currency risks and identify viable entry strategies using global LCC analogs. Coming to the methodology for this consultancy report, I used a qualitative secondary research design, which I have drawn on credible published sources, including ITA, CAPA, OECD, and ANAC reports. This approach is well suited to a volatile emerging market where primary data access is limited. My two ca- my two core frameworks in this report were pestle analysis, which I have used to analyze the micro, environmental, and portfolio forces, which is used to assess the competitive landscape. I also build unit economics and break-even models in test financial viability. And I have compared at Argentina to successful LCC analogs like Ryanair and Indigo, which operates in India. And I have three key findings over here. First is the demand domestic passenger, which reaches approximately 46 million in 2025, which is exceeding pre-pandemic levels. But air travel is only limited to for for zero point 0.3 trips per capita, meaning most Argentines still are not flying. That is a huge gap of latent price sensitive demand. Second, I would say the regulation point. The 2024 Open Skies decree removed the fare controls and also sabotaged restrictions and foreign ownership barriers. This opened the door for new entrants. However, this reform is politically reversible, which is an ongoing risk. Third, coming to my key finding is network and financial constraint. Secondary routes account for almost 40% of latent demand but receive less than 15% of seat capacity. A clear undersupply gap at the same time, operating costs are largely in US dollars, while revenues come in Argentinian pesos. That currency mismatch is the single biggest threat I have found during my secondary research in this report. Coming to the results, I would say there are four figures I have visualized in these posters which confirm these findings. The first figure shows the strong passenger recovery post deregulation, where market size is clearly not the problem. The second figure shows the conversion rate of USD with Argentina pesos depreciation trend. You can see the dramatic peso weakening, which is the critical constraint, cost rise in dollar terms while customer pay in pesos. Our third figure shows that even an open skis agreement expanded frequently growth tagged behind passenger growth, confirming latent demand is being left unserved, especially on secondary roles. And coming to my last figure, which shows out the unit cost benchmarking, which is a new Argentine low cost carrier would face structure higher cost than Ryanair or Indigo. That means ancillary reviews, revenues, baggage fees, seat upgrades, onboard sales are not optional. They are essential to the business model. Coming to the analysis and discussion part, bringing this all together, there is a structural paradox. In this market, on the surface, condition looks great, demand is growing, regulation have opened up, and there is a clear secondary road gap. But the feasibility challenge is not about passenger. It is about managing risk outside the airline direct control. And my Penstel and five forces analysis shows that despite open skis current volatility, high supply power, particularly from fuel and aircraft leasing, and political uncertainty remain serious constraints. Competitively, states support Aerolíneas Argentinas, this sorts trunk road pricing, but on secondary interprovincial routes, a new LCC could compete without going head to head against a subsidized rival. Cross market analog evidence from Ryanair and Indigo shows that what made these airlines succeed was adapting the model to local conditions, not copying a generic template. The same price applies here. And my recommendations are here. I got six recommendations in this poster. And one is enter exclusively via secondary interprovincial routes to implement USD link pricing from launch. Third, I would say operate a single A320 Neo fleet. Build ancillary revenues to at least 20% of total income by year two. Fifth is adapt phased entry with predefined exit triggers. And lastly, I would say begin stakeholder and ANAC engagement 18 months before the launch of LCC in Argentina. To conclude, Argentina offers the most favorable LCC entry condition in its aviation history. The demand is real, the regulatory reform is real, and the secondary road gap is real. But this is not an unconditional green light. Entry is conditionally feasible and only if all the six strategic conditions are implemented in full and within time. Without them, the risk outweighed the opportunity. And with that all said, thank you for your time. And here is my consultancy report project presentation. With that regards, this is Noman signing off.